The Ukrainian Ambassador to the United States, Valeriy Chaly, spoke to me earlier, and he told me why this disaster is so personal to him and the lessons learned from it.
My father was among them who was the first who's tried to simplify for this burning of this nuclear plant. And I remember in a young age that every day after the 26th of April, this disaster, so very personal for me. In the same time, still we are count of international support, in support of international community to simply to guarantee that we avoid this catastrophe in the future and to finalize our plan how to avoid other threats from this area.
One thing that jumped out at me, I was reading the Prime Minister of your country says that lessons learned from Chernobyl should be heeded all over the world. What are the lessons?
We should be prepared for any threats and challenge because we can avoid we can avoid new threats in the world. So dynamic, very complicated picture now of the world. But to be united, to be prepared, to maintain the new, not only nuclear safety culture, but keep strong non-proliferation process and to understand how to stop any attempts to use nuclear materials for the terroristic, as I mentioned, attacks, but also it's for society.
Let me ask you one final question. I was listening to a journalist earlier today who had revisited the area around Chernobyl, and he says that some farmers have moved back into the area, but birch trees have kind of taken over much of the terrain. It's almost kind of a deserted island, if you will. How would you describe the area around the disaster site now?
You know, you even come as a tourist to this area, but it doesn't mean you can live there. That's a problem. And next year, this new safety confinement will allow to come for special list closer. But I think it will never be the same area for living for the next decades. And that's why it seems like trees, good weather, but in reality it's disaster. It's radiation threat and other things, unfortunately.
Mr. Ambassador, thanks so much for your time.